When Toyota launched their first MR2 in 1984, it was an instant hit. Sharp in both style and handling, it was a lightweight GT for the enthusiast. Its replacement, 6 years later, was a bit more middle-aged, unlike the handsome young presenter.
The new model features this curvaceous 1990s look, but still retains that mid-engine layout.
It was more powerful and faster, but heavier and less involving. Both, however, shared the novel option of a semi-open T-bar roof. But now there's a new kid on the block.
And it's got a full soft top. Still mid-engined rear-wheel drive with 2 seats, hence the MR2. But this time it's a real sports car, ideal for a bit of fun in the Mallorcan sun. By shedding loads of weight, the MR2 is back to its old self, once again weighing in at just under a tonne. And with the Celica's feisty 1.8-litre VVT-I engine thrusting 140 horsepower to its rear wheels, it means it's got the best power-to-weight ratio ever. So it's able to match its main rivals, Mazda's MX-5 and the MGF, in the 0 to 60 stakes, hitting the mark at just 7.5 seconds. But at just under £18,500, it's cheaper than its similarly spec'd opposition. £325 less than the 1.8i S Mazda, around £2.5 grand short of the VVC MGF, and a full £4,000 under the basic Lotus Elise. The handling is also pretty foolproof. Push into a corner a bit too quickly and there's mild understeer. On the exit, there's just a hint of oversteer. Although not quite in Lotus Elise territory, this is a real driver's car. You sit low down in the chassis, snugly held with these drilled pedals right in front of you, and in the middle of the steering wheel, that rev counter constantly winding its way round to the 7,000 RPM limit. Minor niggles include rather tall gear ratios, which mean you occasionally have to pump it down to first gear for the tightest of corners. And there's also a slight lack of overall involvement, thanks to a rather muted exhaust note, which does get better when you put the roof up. But perhaps the biggest drawback of all is the fact that there's no boot. The rear is full of engine. There are, however, a couple of storage compartments. A biggish one behind the 2 seats, into which you can just about squeeze an overnight bag, and a tiny one under the bonnet in the front. If you like spots, you'll love the interior, but for me, it just lacks that little bit of sparkle. But when you're pushing it down a stretch of challenging road with the top down, who cares? Because the MR2 is one of the most rewarding drives available at any price. It not only looks like a cost-price Boxster, it drives like one too. Indeed, one can't help but feel a bit sorry for Vauxhall, whose Elise-based VX220 doesn't go on sale until the end of this summer, by which time sales of this little MR2 will have left it trailing in its wake.